I'm Nitya from Computer Technology Department. Today we are going to see about list in Python programming. So in this video we are going to see the scope of Python software and best Python IDE environments, and about how to create a list, how to access element from the list, how to undergo slicing operations, and how to add element into the list, and about deletion of item from the list, and also with various other operations that can be carried out with the list. So first, about the Python software scope. So Python is used in web development, games, graphics, science, that is in NASA, and in research domains like data mining, image processing, networking, and also with all other biosciences and applied sciences. Because of huge volume of modules and packages that are available, this Python is getting evergreen. So in web development, particularly Google company is making use of this Python software for developing huge number of web applications. And if you take in games, particularly the Pygame is a module that supports to develop various number of games like Temple of Elemental, Able, likewise. And also if you take graphics, Blender 3D and Walt Disney, they are using Python for their development. And in rocket launching and simulations, and in NASA they are using this Python software. And in computer science, particularly in the specialization of data mining, image processing, it is used because the it is very rich in Python is very rich with lot of packages and modules like Beautiful Soup, NLTK, NumPy, SciPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and Scikit-learn. So next is about the best IDE environment, the integrated development environment to work with Python at the beginners level. You can choose any number of IDE environment available over here like Jupyter, Spider, Python IDLE. The current version of Python is 3.9, and PyCharm, PyDev, Atom, Eclipse. Even though you have huge volume of IDEs, if you are at a beginner's level and if you don't have any higher end system with a higher end configuration, what you can do is you can better go with Google Colab. In order to use your Google Colab, you need just a Gmail account. If you have a Gmail account, just you can go to Google and type under the search bar as Google Colab and press enter key so that you can get into Google Colab and start working with it. And so now we are getting into list. So what is list? List is actually similar to an array that we create in C, C++, and Java programming. Whereas in list, we have a collection of data and all are of same data type. But here in list, it is mutable one, and you can have any kind of data type inside a list. A list can include an integer, a text, a Boolean value, a complex value, and floating value. Whereas in array, you should have all the data of same data type. Okay. So mutable in the sense, once if you have created a list, you can undergo, after creating a list, you can undergo addition, deletion, and various other updations and all these operations. That's why list is called mutable. Mutable means you are supposed to delete or include or update any element which have been already inserted into the list. So now we are going to see how to create this list using Google Colab. So just go to search bar and type Google Colab and click search button and click on this first link and wait for some time. It will ask you to give the name for the file. I just give it as list operations in Python. So this is the name for my file, and just click on new notebook. So you wait for some time until the server gets connected. So once when it is getting connected, you will find a prompt with a cell. So this is a cell where you can start typing. So you have been connected with your server here. And now in order to create a list, for example, I have given a variable here as days, and I use a method called listof. Listof is a built-in function which help you to create an empty list. Now I type days of, just run this cell. So once if you click on this inverted triangle, you can find a list getting created, an empty list getting created. Here So you can find an empty list has got created now. So if you want to add any element into list, what you can do is you can use a method called append. Append is a method which help you to add element into the list. For example, now I am going to add an element, for example, like apple. So I'm going to add a text now, and after giving append method, I check whether the element has been inserted. So I give days off. So you can find an empty list now includes an element apple into the list. So to add one element into list, you use a method append off. If you want to add more than one element into list, you can use extend of method. So while using extend of, you have to use a square bracket. So here I am going to insert various data types. So I just give a count of 5 count, and it is around cost of 150. So floating value, integer floating, and I'm going to have a boolean value, for example here true. When you type, it changes to blue, it shows that it is a boolean value. Next, if you want to insert any complex data type, for example 7 plus 6j. So this is a complex data. So I have inserted integer, floating, boolean and complex now. So to add more than one element, you have to use extend method. So when you use, you have to use the square bracket. Now click on this inverted triangle, and you have to print and see the result. So type days of. So now you can find after a text, you can see extend method is used to add more than one element into list. Okay, so so you have now I tell you that this is a list. So how can you justify this is of list data type? If you want to justify it, you can use a method type of the variable days. Okay, so that you can find now this is of list data type. It will print the result as list data type. It's of data type list. So days of is of data type list. So it prints as list. So type of is a built-in function which can be used to check whether the data type is of list. And next, to add one element we have seen, and to add more than one element we have seen now. And the third is the data type we have checked. Now, if you want to drop out or remove any element from the list, what you can do is days of dot remove of. This is a method which can helpful for you to remove any element from the list. I want to remove the element apple. So just I typed as apple now. Again you type days off and check whether the element has been removed from the list. Yes, you can see that element apple has been removed from the list. Okay, so remove is used to add one element from the list. The parameter you have to give the item which is to be removed. And next is pop off. Pop off is a method which is used to remove the last element from the list. So once if you have used pop off method, what you have to do is you have to yeah, if it is empty without any parameter, it will remove the last element from the list. So just we'll run and see. Yes. So you can see that last element 7 plus 6j is a complex number that has been removed from the list using pop off method. And if you want to remove all the element from the list, what you can do is clear off. You can use a method clear off. So clear off will remove all the element from the list, and you can find an empty list. Okay, so we have seen three methods: pop, remove and clear. Clear removes all the item from the list. Pop used to remove the last item from the list, and remove with the parameter will remove the particular item from the list. So now we are going to see another keyword called del. So del is a keyword which is used to completely remove this list from its memory. So if I give del days off, and again if I put days, it will show an error stating that there is no such list available in the memory. It shows days is not defined. It means that there is no list by this name because you have removed completely all the element and also the data structure. So del is a keyword that can be used whenever you want to remove completely that list from the memory. Okay. And now next we are going to see about Next we are going to see about, so we'll print the days, and next we are going to see about adding two list. Okay, concatenation of two list. So I will create another list by name day, or we can have it as flower, a variable. I include some item inside this, for example rose, jasmine. So I added two elements into this list. Now, if I want to join these two list, what I can do is days plus flower. Okay. So it will print the result as combining the two lists. It will print apple 5. So first list got joined with the second list flower. So concatenation support you to join two lists. Okay, and next if you want to repeat the same item again and again, what you can do is, for example, you can type as print floor star 3. Star is a operator, multiplication operator, but here when you give star 3, you see the result rose, jasmine, rose, jasmine, rose, jasmine. So it repeats n number of time that list with the list item. Okay. So this is another operation that can support you with repetition of the same item into the list. Plus operator joins two lists. Star operator repeats the same item into the list. And next is you have an operator called in and not in. In and not in are the membership operators. Here you can check whether the particular item is available in this list called names. So what I have to do is I can check whether 5 in the list named days. Okay, I just check whether 5 is in the list named days. Okay. Yes, it prints true because there is an item 5 inside this list. For example, if I give here 6 now and just check now, you can see that item is not in list. So it prints false. Okay, it's just a transposure of in is not in. So I type here not in now and check again, it will print true. Yes, 6 is not in this list. So it prints true. Okay. So this is how, for example, if I put 5 is in the list, but I have given not in now. So again, if I check, it prints false. So in this video, we have just seen how to create a list, and then how to access we have not seen. So we'll see how to access an element from the list. So if you want to access any element from the list, what you can do is days of, you put a square bracket, and you can use, for example, it has positive and negative indexing. So list allow you to create both positive and negative indexing. So 0th index is 5. If I want to fetch an element 150, what I have to do is I have to put 1 here. So it will fetch the element, sorry, 150 it has to fetch. So days of 1. So why it has fetched 5 is apple is in the index of 0 and 5 is in the index of 1. So you can just check, wait, days of, print both, print days of, and also you print and see the index of 1. So you can just check now. Apple is in the index of 0, in the index of 1 you have 5. So it has fetched 5. Okay. So if you want to if you want to undergo slicing, to fetch one element you use an index. If you want to fetch more than one element, for example, here if I want to fetch from 150 to this element, what I have to do is, this is in index 0, this is in 1, this is in index 2. So I can give the starting index as 2 colon, and I don't specify any index here, but it will fetch from 150, it will fetch all the element from the list. See the slicing result. Okay, so indexing supports you with accessing the element from the list, either one element, or if you want to fetch a portion of element from the list, we can do with this slicing operation. Also, Python supports you with negative indexing. The negative indexing starts from right to left. So if I give here as -1, if I give here as -1, and if I execute and see, you can find the last element from the list has got uh, accessed. Okay, so Python supports you with both positive and negative indexing. So I am very happy that today I have discussed about how to create an empty list, how to add more than one element into list, how to add single element into list. For adding single element, use of append. To add more than one element, we have used extend. To remove an element, we use remove, pop, clear. And if you use del keyword, it removes completely all the element from the list. And if you want to check whether the list is of type list, so you have to use type of function. And then if you want to undergo slicing or indexing, for slicing, you can use this start index and stop index. We have seen already, like 1:, if I want to start from 5, and if I want to fetch only up to 150, I just type it here as 3. So it will fetch only two element 5 and 150. So this is start index and this is stop index. So Python supports both positive and negative indexing. So I hope you would have understood what are the concepts that we have seen, like adding, deletion, operations on list, membership, everything. So I thank you all for your patience listening.